Hello, how are you today? It's good to see you. I'm just a couple minutes early, so I'm just going to wait around for a few minutes. It's a really pretty day here in North Carolina. It's very hot, very humid. We're in the 90s. I think it may feel like it's 100. Hey Tina, how are you? Okay, can you hear me okay? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start. My name is Joanne Hewins. I have a blog at lovetocreate.typepad.com, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And I'm excited to be with you today. Oh, you got puppies inside. Is that because of the heat? I guess. I've been working all day making or creating cards, and this is the kind of day I like the most. Hi, Faith. How are you? Good to see you here today, too, Faith. But anyway, I've gotten to make some cards. I have felt like the last couple weeks that I'm just a day ahead, and it kind of stresses me out. And so today I've actually been working on cards for next week, so maybe I'll get next week done and feel like I'm a little ahead of the game. Yeah, it is too hot out for the puppies. So I'm going to go ahead. Wanted to remind you that we have one more week, and then we will begin Sale-a-Bration. That begins on August 3rd and goes through the end of September. And then our mini catalog also begins on October 3rd. It goes all the way to December. So I can't open these up yet. Next week at this time, I'll be able to. So I'm excited about this. There's some wonderful, wonderful products in these, and I know that you're going to enjoy them. We're going to use one Sale-a-Bration item today. We are going to be using the Party Puffins stamp set. I just got this not too long ago, and puffins are not penguins. They are not even related. So I thought I better go ahead and use these before everybody's just thinking about penguins, because there's some cute ones in the mini catalog and some beautiful paper in Sale-a-Bration with penguins. So the Party Puffins is on page 67 in our annual catalog. I'm lucky enough to have an upline that does little contests and things, and I was able to win this stamp set from her. And so I thought, well, I need to use it and let her see that I appreciate that she supplied this for me. So let's get busy. I'm going to go ahead and close the catalog, and we'll get started. I'll show you the card that we're going to make. I'm kind of excited today about this. This is a W fold card, and I think I've done this with you before. I looked it up. It might have been back in March, but you can see it again. So this is the inside of the card, and we'll talk about how to cut all these pieces and get everything going for this. So Party Puffins is what we'll be using. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the card. I'm just going to cut it from scratch when it comes to the outside part of the card, just so that you can see how this comes together. It uses about a whole piece of paper, and I'm going to be using the basic black. And to start off with, I'm going to cut it in half at 4 1/4, and that's going to make the base of our card. I'll score this at 5 1/2, and the score is the lighter color, so I'm going to score that. I don't want to mistakenly cut it. And so that is going to be our base. I'll use my bone folder in a few minutes. Then we're going to need a strip of black that is, I went ahead and wrote it here so you could see it. The strip is 1 3/4 by 11. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that right from the rest of the paper. So 1 3/4. And then it's 11 inches long already. And we're going to score this at 2 3/4. Let me move that down and just score 5 1/2. And then it would be 8 1/4. So let me pull this out. And I could just do from this end and do another 2 3/4, but I'll go ahead and pull this arm out and do it at the 8 1/4. Okay, and this is going to be folded like this, down in the center and then up on the sides. And I'll use my bone folder on that in a few minutes as well. And then we're going to have 4 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. So I'm going to trim this at 2 1/4. And this is the waste that we have from one piece of paper. So not a lot. And then I'm going to score, I'm going to cut this every 2 3/4. So we'll end up with 4 of these because it will evenly do 2 3/4 segments. So this last segment is also 2 3/4. So that's exactly what we need. All right, so we have these 4 panels for the inside of the card, and then we have the W panel. I'm going to get my bone folder, and you want to make sure that this is folded straight. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold it and burnish it with my bone folder already folded. Okay, and I just realized I may not have something I need. I had picked it up to bring in here, but I don't see it. So I was looking for tear and tape. And then this one, we're going to match our corners down here and burnish here. All right, so these are our pieces, and then we need some designer paper to make this. And let me show you the designer paper that we're going to use. And this is paper you may not have seen unless you're a demonstrator. It's called Beautifully Pinned. And this is one of the Sale-a-Bration items that you can earn for free with a $50 purchase once this starts. So this whole pack is black and white, and there are 4 sheets of 3 designs, I guess. So we're using this one that I think looks like waves. On the other side, this is the pattern that's there. And this does remind you of the hand pinned paper that's in the annual catalog. It kind of goes along with it. Then you have this striped piece with these flowers. Wouldn't that be pretty colored? And then there's your waves and your flowers. And evidently I have maybe used or taken out the 3rd design to use with another project. So you can see this much of it is really pretty. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And I've already cut our designer paper. And what we need for that is 3 pieces that are cut 4 by 5 and 1/4. That's a lot of designer paper for one card. So, but it's well worth it. It's a cute little card. And then you need 4 pieces of the waves that are 2 1/8 by 2 5/8. And I wanted to point out that when I cut the designer paper, I cut it in a long strip. Let me bring this in. I cut it in a long strip 4 across, and then I was able to get 2 pieces of the waves. So 2 of these have the waves that are about the same, and actually this one looks pretty close, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But what I was going to say is that on the inside of the card, you want to kind of make sure that your waves are going to meet. I kind of think that looks, I believe those were together. So I'm going to put these 2 on the inside and this one on the outside. So I'm going to set these aside, and probably I should have done some of my coloring of the paper ahead of time, but I did not. But it's not going to take that long, and I've done a few other things. So I'm going to take a blending brush, and this is Pool Party ink, and I'm going to, now I re-inked this last night, so hopefully it'll cover pretty quickly. So I'm going to cover the front. And what I'm doing is tapping off a little bit of the extra color, and then I'm going in from my scrap paper to color that. And if it has some areas that end up being a little darker than others, it isn't going to matter because the water isn't always just the same everywhere. So I'm not really worried about that. So I'm going to talk to you now about how I built up the scene on the front of the card. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in the panel that I already have. And I'm going to show you, well, oh, here they are. I was going to show you the dies that I used for this. This goes with the Mountain Air stamp set. We're not using that. Hi, Debbie. How are you? We're not using that, but we're going to use the dies. So I use this die for my heels, and then I use the 2 tree dies to add a little more interest. So I was looking up puffins to see where they lived. And they're not at the Arctic. They are actually live in North America on up toward Iceland and a little colder area. They spend most of their time in the water, but they also like the rocky cliffs or the rocky areas next to the shore. I think that might be where they do their nesting. So I wanted to do kind of a rocky looking area for this. So I kind of cut out, and I know I had all this before I started, I cut out some pieces of basic gray and a piece of smoky slate. And I'm going to use this on the front of the card. So I kind of laid it on here the way I thought it might look good, and I wanted to do the smoky slate kind of in between, and I didn't really want to have the same pattern looking so close. So I kind of laid it out a little bit like this on my paper, maybe a little bit crooked, until I found what I thought would look good. And then I'm just going to lift these 2 and lay them aside, and I'm going to glue this one on. And The best way I knew to do that was just kind of to lift this up and add glue. Now this is going to stick out on this other end. So I'm just going to lay that down this way, and then I'm going to stick a little bit of glue under there. And of course I got too much and it came out. I'm just going to wipe that with a paper. Okay, and that's going to stick to my paper a little bit. It's okay. And then I'm going to bring this one back in and kind of glue it. But before I do, I want to put 2 of my trees down. So I've run my trees already through the emboss machine, and I've got 2 in Mossy Meadow and 1 in the Pear Pizzazz. So I don't always have the best of luck with the adhesive sheets, but we're going to try it and it's going to work. So I'm going to put down first one of the Mossy Meadow trees, and I'm going to just kind of pull that out, and then we'll start pulling off the adhesive sheet. Can you see that? Okay. And okay, now the adhesive sheet comes in several little sections, and I think that's what I'm running into here is some of the sections. And then we'll work on this one. And it may just be the way it was cut here that a lot of this is going to be separate, but maybe not. And you can see a lot of those little pieces pulled out with that, which was what I was hoping would happen. So I'm going to move my slate piece and put down my tree. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same with the lighter color. So we'll pull that off. Now, this is what happens when it works the way it's supposed to. And I'm going to put this one down a little bit further. And some of this is still in there, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be covered up by my cliff. In fact, I'm just going to cut off a piece of that tree. We'll get this out of the way. Okay, so there's our trees. I'm going to go ahead and glue down this piece of rock. Instead of mountains, we're making rocks. I think I'm going to stick it out a little bit further. Okay, and then this bottom one I'm going to add with dimensionals. So I'm going to put the dimensionals kind of up a little bit. But I think I'm going to use the whole, what I did on the first one is I just let the bottom of this go down right to the edge, just down a little bit to the edge. So that's what I'm going to do here. And so there's our mountains. I'm going to turn this over and just trim it down the side of my paper. So there's our mountains, and we just need to add a tree, our other tree. I probably should have added that before I put in the last layer, but it's not going to match. It'll work out fine. Okay. I think these puffins are really, really cute. Okay, so this tree is going to go right in there. And I'm going to start putting it down, but I am going to trim some of that off and just kind of put it up under this piece. And of course I have a dimensional there. There. That's fine. And there's a piece sticking in there. I'm going to just pull that out. Okay. So we've got that much. So I'm going to talk to you for a moment about stamping the puffins. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced any problems when trying to stamp a dark, solid area. Sometimes I have that problem. I think I've got a leaning tree. Let's see if that's any better. Maybe the same. So I'm going to pull in my Stamp-A-Ratus, and I've taken the puffin pieces. Let me just turn that over. I've taken the puffin pieces and added them. Well, of course, I'm going to get my magnets stuck together, but it's okay. I'm going to bring in a piece of paper that is, gosh, I think this is the 4 by 5.5. Yes. And I can pretty much stamp everything that I need right here. So I'm just going to lay this down. Yeah, that will work like that. And I'm going to put, I have a broken magnet here, but it's okay. Okay, so that will work, and I'll go ahead and ink that up. I'm going to put this under my Stamp-A-Ratus to make that a little bit flatter, and I'll go ahead and ink it. Now, I did ink this pad last night, so hopefully I won't have to stamp it too many times. And I want to show you also this. This is a hockey puck, an air hockey puck. And I saw someone using this to help them push down their Stamp-A-Ratus. So it was even. I know some people have a little bit of a hard time pushing that down. And hopefully that would be a tip that might help. And you can see I did not get all of those areas really good. So I'm going to ink up. I don't know that I have to worry with the words so much. But we'll ink that up. I am going to push a little harder right there on those. Okay, oh, that's pretty good. So I'm just going to take that out. Now you probably need to be kind of careful because it may smear for a little bit, and I'm going to tell you that I needed more than one stamping of that, but I've already got one stamped here. So that'll make me have what I need. And I actually have a couple of these cut out already, but I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about coloring them. And I'm going to use blends, and I'm going to use a dark pumpkin pie, a dark pale papaya, a dark daffodil delight, and a light smoky slate. So those are my colors that I'm going to use. And okay, I think this is the one that I had done already, so it's good and dry. So what I did was color out here, and I like to use in small spaces the bullet end. Well, use a different finger. The bullet end of my blend. So there really isn't much to color on these. And I kind of liked the outer part being darker. And then, let's see, I think sometimes I've colored this the other way around with the pale papaya being up here. I don't think it matters. We can do what we wish. So I'm going to color the rest of his bill. Oops, missed you up here. And I'm going to color this fish or bow. I just think it's a her because she has a bow. And then we'll color. I'll have to go back to my darker. I'll go ahead and do our and I can see I still didn't get all of the pale papaya done, but that's okay. You just do it the way you feel like doing it. And I'm not really blending anything on these. I just like coloring with the blends. They're easy to color with. And so I'm not using light and dark and trying to make it look real, because they don't look real to start with. Okay. And then we'll do our plate. Hey Susan, how are you? And still, let's get these dots in here on the hat. And I think that's all of our coloring. Okay. Now we do not have dies that go with these, so everything is going to have to be cut out with our snips. I went ahead and I have colored enough for us to do the front of the card. And then I'll have to cut out those others. So here's our puffins. And I am going to add them with dimensionals. So I'll get this one. And put him out here. So more than likely, this is going to be a card that might take some extra postage because it's a little thicker. Okay, so we'll just put him on there. And then we'll get this one with the hat. It sounds like the guy who mows our grass could be here. That could be a bad thing, because he's very loud. So we'll put our cake in. Now I couldn't decide on the cake whether I needed to teeter it on a hill, put it on the front here. I kind of put it behind, but you know what? I think it might look better on the front. I'm going to take that dimensional off. Yeah, it's not going to unstick, is it? And I think I'm going to put it here this time. What you think? And I'll put a little glue dot under there. Okay, so there's the front, except for my happy birthday. And I'm going to just trim that. Yes, he's mowing my grass, so I apologize. I have no control over it. Oops. I'm just happy that we have somebody mowing our grass, I guess. So I'm going to cut this just on this little trimmer. And I'm not really measuring. Oops, it's pretty close. I'm just looking at the words. I probably don't need to put that close. And I'm looking to see if it's straight. Okay. So we will add this with dimensionals as well. I think I'm just going to cut some here from the side, from here, and add them. And probably if I were not doing this live, I would redo that birthday and have a little bit of space down there. Okay, we're going to take our glue and glue this to our card front. There it is. And I wanted to make sure I had the fold on the right side. And here we go. Okay, so there's the front of our card. We'll be using those on the inside. And let's get our strip put on the outside there. And I'm going to have to leave the room for just a moment and pick up my, I can't believe I got in here without it, my tearing tape. Okay, I apologize. I did have it in my pile of stuff to bring, but somehow it did not make it. So on the back of this, I'm going to put tearing tape. And I know I can tear it, I just really don't like to here. And then I'm going to go ahead okay, I may have just done that on the wrong side. Hold on a minute and let me look at this one. I did. I put it on the wrong side. So what I'll do is just refold it. Okay. So now it will go like that. And on this side, we're going to put our little panels. So I'm going to put tearing tape here on all of my panels. I did like how the front of my card turned out. I thought that was pretty good. Hey Patty, how are you? I was just telling them that my team leader had supplied me with this puffin stamp set, and that I was going to use it to show that I appreciated the gift. So here you go. So to do the W, I'm going to pull off my strips here of the tear and tape, and I'm going to adhere it. I want to adhere it in the center, so I'm going to use my grid paper to kind of help me get that in the center. I'm just going to count my squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that will work. And I'm going to put this all the way to the edge of the card. Oh, you know what? I am making a very big mistake. I'm going to take this aside and I'm going to add my DSP. I need to add my waves back there. So let's do that. I'm glad. I thought that just doesn't look right. So let me color these pieces real quick with my blending brush. And again, this paper is from Beautifully Pinned, and it's going to be one of the free items from Sale-a-Bration that begins on August 3rd. And also, it's okay if your paper isn't covered just exactly the same all over, because water varies in color. I'm just trying to hurry on this. Okay, that will do that. And we will glue those on. I want to make my waves go this way. All right, now we're ready. Let me put this back centered, and I think it was 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. Now we want to put it here in the center and bring it all the way out here to the side. Okay, and I'm just going to fold this up. We have our tear and tape there, and we're just going to fold the card shut, and that's going to get our W fold in there. So it's really very, very easy to put that together. Okay, so let's start working on our panels. And I just thought this was perfect for the W card because we had 4 different things that we could use for our panels. And let me go ahead and pull in these waves, and we'll color those quickly, and we'll be ready to get these panels done. Love the blending brushes. I'm not sure they're available right now. The last time I looked, they were still on back order. But they'll be back in it sometime, and you're going to love them if you don't already have them. that is all of our blending done. So I'm going to, I think we'll just work from here over. And I have already cut out this penguin and the fish. So we'll have to do these two penguins, not penguins, puffins. Oh my goodness. And the cake. And then we'll do our saying. Okay, let me do these as quickly as I can. And it's easier, I like to leave a little bit of space around my object that I'm cutting. And it's easier if you can move your paper rather than your scissors so much. So you can see I'm just kind of pivoting it around. For some, that's kind of a hard thing to do. But I think it allows you to go a little bit quicker as well. So there's the cake. Okay, I think I cut the other ones out a little bit better than that. They really are not hard to cut at all. Okay, and we'll get this one done quickly, and we'll be ready to put together. Now today we're just doing the one card. I had thought about using the little wobbles on a card, but I really felt like this was going to take a bit of time. Hello, Anna. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, Faith. She said, Faith says that it does look like a party. That's the name of it, Party Puffins. So I'm going to pull in my pieces that I cut from the Majestic Mountains. And we're going to use that to help with the bottom of each of the panels. So I'm just going to put one of the panels, I'm just going to put some glue, and what I did is I laid that down to see kind of where it would go to, and I'm just going to put some glue back here and glue that down, and then I can just add a little bit of glue there, but I think we'll be all right. And then I'm going to just glue this puffin down. I don't want to use more dimensionals inside because we already have some outside, and I think that's probably enough. And I'm going to set that aside, and then we'll get another piece of our gray, whatever looks good. I'm just going to, I think I'll do it from over here. And I think I'll go ahead and cut that so I don't get the extra glue on there. So there we go with that. And I've got this little one already cut. We're going to take a glue dot and put it on this one. He's going to hold that little fish. He's going to go right in here. Okay. And we've got one here that we're going to put our cake on. And again, I'm sorry that they've come to mow my grass. And I am just letting the bottom of this stick down just a little bit. I kind of liked the way that looked. Okay, and then we're going to put our cake on here. And then, oops, I'm going to cut and make a wish just with this small cutter. Okay, let me push that out of the way. And we'll just add a little bit of glue here. Oops. Okay. And then we have one more, and we'll just add that. Well, I am getting glue pieces everywhere. Okay, and we will glue him down. So we're almost done. We're going to glue these to our 4 panels that we made earlier. Bring those back in. And then all we'll have left to do is add them to the panels in our card. Okay, so let me put, here's my lid, this aside, and we'll open up this card and add our panels. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up my tear and tape, and we'll add this one. And what I'm doing is looking to see if they're about the same from each side. And then after I get this first one in, I'm going to want to try to make them even with the one that I already have. Okay. And then the last one. Okay, so there you go. There's our card. If it will stand up like that. So it would be good if someone wanted to display it. It is a little bit thick, especially right in here where that comes together. Like I said, you might need to add a little extra postage, but here is our card using the Party Puffins stamp set. Now I will have my post on Friday that has all of the measurements again. If you weren't able to write them from here, and more pictures to help you make your own if you're interested. So again, I'm Joanne Hewins. If you need supplies to help you with any of these, make any of this, I'd be happy to help you, and you can go to my blog there, and there is a link to my online store, or there will also be a link when I add this video to YouTube. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and have a good day. Go stamp something. Bye-bye.